Back to Insights with me, Farzana Muhammad, Uncut. Today, we are diving into a topic that many organizations are experiencing, but very few are openly addressing it: the people crisis within teams. And I'm very happy to be joined by Mr. Sarma. Thank you so much for coming, who brings
Pleasure.
brings such deep insights into the organizational behavior, leadership, and workforce dynamics. So welcome again, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you.
So let me begin with a discussion before we get into the question. From your experience, what is that one shift you are seeing in today's workforce that concerns you the most, if you're looking at the scenario today?
Uh, First of all, thank you for bringing me back. Then coming to that's actually an extraordinary question that you have asked. What most of the people are talking about is the shift in terms of Gen X, Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, and all that stuff. But they're forgetting that there are certain changes which is happening even in the previous generations.
Yes.
The impact of these new generations on the previous generations and the impact on the decisions that the organization is taking. If you see, no longer loyalty is determined by number of years. In fact, 3 to 5 years and more if you are there, unless there is some solid reason like you have got promoted 3 or 4 times, people look at you as a loser. You're not able to move out of that particular organization, you're not getting opportunities, and therefore there is this forced attrition which is being brought into place. And like it or not, the HR and the business leaders are also responsible for it, because that's the question they ask during the interviews. So you've been in this organization very long, great, but what are you doing there? So that's something which most of the people are forgetting, and that is impacting the way the people connect to the organization and the way the loyalties are today measured and arrived at.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting to know. Okay, let's dive into the topic which we are doing today, that is people. We've seen that post-COVID, post-structuring, restructuring, AI disruption. What is actually happening inside today's workforce that leaders are not fully acknowledging it? What do you see there?
So, if you see, like a lot of these organizations, when they are going through these disruptions, most of the organizations do not understand or are unable to focus on the implications of these on the workforce which is remaining with you. So, all these disruptions, for example, some of the larger organizations are today are talking about, wellness for employees and doing those sessions and all that stuff. But what are they leading to? Are they leading to something crucial and something important? And most often I feel that they're missing the context of the psychological security which the people need. It's not just about de-stress yourself, take that break, do that 30 seconds look around or stretches and all that. That's important. I'm not denying that, but what's more important is the psychological security that has become a major problem in the minds of employees today. Whether it is, as you said, the post-COVID issues or the restructurings due to those impacts or the AI disruptions or today's war, or just because of the technological differences, there are so many layoffs which are happening and there are so many issues which are happening, which is leading to these challenges. So what I suggest that the people have to look at the shift of the mindset of the people psychologically, which is what I was trying to say. It has a lot of impact on the psychology of the people, irrespective of the generations. They are trying to be more conscious and cautious about what kind of contribution. So to what extent do I go beyond my role and deliver?
Yes.
That is coming down year by year. The emotional contract between the employer and the employee has completely changed. When you look at the new generations that are coming up, there's never any connection. If you see, the way they connect is completely different to the previous generations. Like today, is the organization supporting one side of the war or the other side of the war, makes a difference in terms of attrition, which has nothing to do with the core business of the organization. But that emotional connect is no longer limited to that employer employee, and it is evolving much more, evolving in terms of your values, in terms of your ethics. How are you treating the employees as long as they're there? How are you treating them when they're exiting? All these factors are making a difference in how the employee employer contracts are getting signed. And this change of the new generations is also impacting the older generations in the way they are thinking.
Yes, yes.
And finally, the AI layer has added a significant level of anxiety into the whole place, because nobody is able to concretely predict what kind of roles would AI replace. Mm-hmm. And there are different experts, so-called experts, actually talking different things. But what can AI do? Can it think instead of a human? It cannot. So any role or any portion of the role which has human thinking elements still required will never get replaced. 100%. It's only the mundane and administrative tasks which will get replaced by the AI.
Right.
So what is happening up, or what is going to happen, is the free up of the time from your administrative tasks. Okay. Whether, let's say, for example, a salesperson documenting the sales for the day, documenting the conversations, that time, energy, and effort is reducing today significantly through AI. The HR is reducing his time, energy, and effort spent on understanding the attendance, the accuracies, and all that, and AI is covering up significant portion, for example. So these are the things that are changing, and surveys like Gallup and all are talking very clearly that these disruptions have impacted the psychology of the employees, and this is impacting the employee engagement very clearly. Like almost 21 percentage fall in employee engagement results.
Oh wow, that's a huge percentage.
Huge difference. And what is more interesting is that even managerial engagement has reduced from 30 to 27%. The number doesn't seem bad compared to the 21% drop, but 3% is a significant. It's almost 10% reduction in the engagement levels. And imagine the managers are getting disengaged. And when you further classify them, the Gen Zs, the female leaders, they are getting more disengaged quicker. Really? So the kind of productivity losses are significantly increasing because of this psychological impact. And what we have to understand is that the workforce has moved on. They are not, because of the psychological depletion which is happening in their minds, they are moving on to a more disengaged approach, unless and until the organizations do something about it, like how Career Tree talks about the people resilience as a pillar and working on it. Correct. You will not be able to bring that back.
So that's a very, very important point, I think. And I think many leaders, they're sensing this, but I don't think they are fully addressing it. Don't you think? That's what we see now in today's market, what we are seeing.
Yes. Right. Because most of these actions are coming more from the context of the tick box or the check box, rather than from understanding the root cause and how do I eliminate it.
Makes sense.
Because again, coming back to one of the survey points, the managers themselves are getting disconnected. When they are disconnected, they would want to do things to the extent what they'll be responsible for or they're pushed to. Rather than getting above and beyond into the root cause and coming out with solutions which works on it. So that is where you are able to see that inconsistency in the results, though there are so-called initiatives being taken across.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about the two terms which has been, I've been looking at, and disengagement, and I think you just mentioned a little bit just now, and quiet quitting. But what are the, how we say the real behavioral signals for the leaders they should be paying attention to before it is too late for others to just leave and, just disengage? What are those behavior a leader should not miss before it's late for them?
Sure. That's again a good question. So, if you look at most often the metrics the organizations follow to understand the engagement levels of the employees are most often
Hmm.
attrition levels, which is actually an outcome,
Hmm.
or it's like a postmortem after the incident.
Yes.
Attrition happens after the disengagement,
Yes.
long after the disengagement, maybe 3 to 6 months would have been the time. So
When
what
they
you
miss it.
need is more more of early signs, something
Hmm.
which you can work on proactively before the employee decides to quit.
Quit. Got it.
So what could be these signs? One is what level of discretionary effort, as I was saying, is the employee putting in still?
Hmm.
The employee going above and beyond? Is he volunteering for certain initiatives, certain
Hmm.
projects, coming up with ideas? To what extent is the individual taking that additional effort, or
Okay.
is he just delivering to the research? Second, what level of upward communication is happening, and what quality of this upward communication is? That is the employee communicating with their managers and the leaders the problems or
Hmm.
the solutions, or at least trying to contribute to the solutions? If the employee is not trying to contribute to the solution but just trying to
Hmm.
act as a, let's say, postman, just communicating it to the
Okay.
employee, then that's a sign that you have to take that their person is getting disengaged. He's not committed, he's not owning the process.
Hmm.
Third is emotional flattening. That is, whether are these people, like, are they taking up that initiative, that curiosity, and trying to understand what is happening, what is the next initiative that is happening
Hmm.
in the market or the industry, what else is happening, and trying to communicate that. If none of these kinds of things are happening and communication is happening, then
Hmm.
that is again another context of employee
Okay.
getting disengaged.
Hmm. That's very
Then,
interesting. Hmm.
yeah, fourth is manager avoidance.
Ah.
There are employees who avoid the managers communicating, meeting the managers.
Oh.
That is again an important sign that the manager has to see that the employee has got disengaged
Very.
and is now,
Hmm.
as you said, in silent quitting or quiet quitting,
Hmm. Okay.
right?
So
So the communications and warning systems is very clear that they're trying to avoid you.
So this is very interesting. These are very subtle signals, but
Yeah.
I guess by the time they become very visible, the impact has already been has become very significant. Maybe
Yes,
a
these are,
person is gone completely.
these impact the collaboration, the teamwork, the level of engagement, the
Absolutely correct.
productivity. All
Yeah.
these get significantly impacted, and you can see that from these signals.
Ah, nice. So let's just talk about the neuroscience perspective. What does sustained uncertainty actually do to the performance, the decision making, and in the team dynamics? What does it impact? How will it? How would you give us your perspective on that?
Right. So that's again another a very important dimension, but it's more scientific dimension to the psychological analysis and the disengagement which we have been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So what does neuroscience say is that when an employee is challenged with continued uncertainty phases
Mm-hmm.
with minimal time for recuperation, then it impacts the neurological aspects of the employee. So what does this mean? In a little more scientific terms, the human brain's prefrontal context, which
Mm.
is behind the forehead, which is responsible for the cognitive ability, that is planning, decision making, all impulsive control and memory, and that agility
Mm-hmm.
to come out with solutions. All these get impacted because they are continuously going through the stress of these unknowns, which results in release of cortisons and all that stuff. So which kind of numbs the entire process,
Mm.
and it impacts the behavior of the people. So what does it actually mean from the technical aspect to in real terms? So
Mm.
the working memory degrades. The
Yes.
employees are not able to recollect and remember data, information. They are not able to take decisions at the speed at which they have to take, or the confidence is poor,
Mm.
leading to more a reactive approach than a proactive approach always. Then the cognitive flexibility in terms of like switching between tasks, handling multitasking, which is the need for the day to day.
Mm.
All these get impacted because they're not able to work on so many things at one point of time.
Agreed. Agreed.
Their emotional impact also is there in terms of empathy, and social cognition also gets diminished because they're so worried about what is happening to them that they're unable to understand the intentions and motivations of the others in the process.
So true. So true.
And finally, the curiosity and learning also gets significantly impacted, and no longer you're talking about innovation, how do you do things differently and all. It's more about the survival and getting things through. And that's where WHO also in its workplace mental health guidance is raising this particular risk, and they were talking in about 12 billion lost working days annually because of this
Wow.
impact. And it's a very compounding problem.
Mm.
And I think it's very important that we work on this in terms of this helping the employees to work on these uncertain times,
Mm.
on not being stressed, but
Mm.
being more effective. And that's where the career tree people resilience pillars talk about on how do you handle this. So uh, most often it is not like, as we discussed, the workforce is disengaged in their productivity and all. It's not because they want to be unproductive in many cases, but it's because of the stress and these neurological impacts they're getting into underperformance. They're getting into ineffectiveness, productivity losses, and
It
all that.
directly affects their performance for sure because it's very emotionally draining for them. And
Yes.
if you come to think of it, that's very well put. Okay. So why do most organizations they underestimate the human impact of restructuring even when they get the strategy right on the paper? We hear a lot, oh, we are ready, we have restructured, now we understand, but we still see these kind of impacts everywhere. What do you think is the reason?
So the restructuring, as you said, it is everywhere, and again, it is not necessarily because of certain external crisis. It is
Mhm.
also because of the technological
A lot of,
differences.
yeah.
It's also because of the strategic initiatives which were taken and have failed, and now they want to scale that back and look at something else.
Hmm.
And in the process, there are a lot of roles which are getting redundant.
Yes.
Like even the latest Oracle layoff, which
Yes.
we are seeing today
Wow.
in India. So about 12,000 people losing their livelihood. Now, is that really only to be attributed to certain actions or initiatives?
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Okay.
Can it be done better? Definitely, it probably could have been done better.
Mm-hmm.
What are we trying to talk here? We are saying like, why did Oracle have to get into that 12,000 number? It's not a small thing, number, right? It's like you have laid off a large organization in itself. I mean, 12,000 is a large number in itself.
Number from one just
So it's like shutting down one an entity of with multiple branches and all. So what? Why are they getting into this? See, at an outset, it looks like it is just about AI getting in and all that. But what have you done for the employees to overcome these?
Mm-hmm.
Have you provided them that expectation of what to expect in the next 6 months to 1 year?
Correct.
What kind of skill sets are you looking to evolve at your employees to evolve, and have you provided them those opportunities?
Correct.
Not necessarily pay all your employees for upskilling them,
Correct.
but at least provide them that context,
Mm.
that platform, that suggestion in terms of where can they go and learn this,
Yes. Very.
right? At least if you get, then they would probably invest on themselves. Nobody would like to get into a livelihood loss
Exactly. I mean,
if they have that clear direction.
yeah, I suppose this is where the gap lies. These organizations, they optimize in planning but underestimate the human responses on that, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. So if you look at the entire restructuring aspect, misses most often the impact on the existing employees,
Yes. Yes.
right? So it's people focus on how I'm exiting these people, what to do about them, how to communicate with them, what is the fallout of of this impact, and how do I control that. But that fallout also has an impact on an existing employee. So research shows that these people become disengaged faster when these people are the people who are surviving the restructuring, surviving the layoffs. They also have impact. They have a significant impact on their psychology, and they get disconnected with the organization. They get disengaged with the organization. They are prone to attrition or low productivity levels because they have not been handled. They have not been communicated. Why was this layoff done? What is the purpose? Could it have been avoided? Or did I do something humane to ease this layoff for the livelihoods of these people? This entire communication becomes very, very important. Otherwise, the employee is like, okay, my contract with the employee is simple. As long as I don't get a better offer, I'm here, and I will do what I have to do, nothing more. That's the kind of a psychological impact which gets in if they don't, work on this, because these employees have that emotional guilt. Maybe because he left, therefore I got saved. Between friends, between colleagues. Oh my God, probably can I have done something? Could I have done something at levels where this was not very crucial? That a lot of guilt gets into place. A lot of this reassessment of commitment levels. Okay, so they have hired and fired whenever they wanted. So I would also be the same. At that crucial project, crucial moment when the organization wants me, I will quit and give them back. This kind of a cognitive thought process gets built, and operationally also, leaving the psychology part of it, operationally also there is a load increase most often on the people who are staying back. Sometimes 1.3 to 1.5 times of the workload increase happens, and that leads to a lot of stress, lot of fatigue. And unless the leader is ready to see that and help ease that, it is going to be very, very difficult for you to retain that employee. And lot of research says there are about 15 to 30% of productivity loss after a restructuring on the existing employees.
Yes.
So we therefore as leaders have to look at not just from a business bottom line perspective, but again, I'm not saying you should only look at the human side. What I'm saying is look at how this process can be handled more effectively, more better. Can you do something which will enable a win-win for all the people in the process?
Do not make it as dramatic as these people have done, because we have seen this in the past as well, isn't it? That's so powerful and
dramatic and unemotional also.
Unemotional, 100%. Yes, I mean, I'm just thinking about those people who just they saw this email in the morning and what's going on here, right? It's a cost on everybody.
True.
How are they going to survive? There's so many things to it. So yeah, you're very right. It is on the business and the employers and all those leaders who are making such decisions, for sure. Okay, so if a leader wants to stabilize their team today, what are those couple of practical interventions that actually will make a difference? Some practical interventions now.
So, first and foremost, what I would suggest is to reinstate, or probably even restructure the manager check-ins, weekly check-ins. There has to be a weekly conversation between the manager and the employee individually.
Okay.
Which is not just about the performance or that particular task or status updates and all, but more in terms of is there something which you're unclear about right now? Is there something which is creating pressure has something been impacting your thought process? Ask these questions. And Gallup research says that these habits significantly help in anti-disengagement habit of the employee. So when the manager is reconnecting with the employee, the connection starts evolving back. When you're showing this concern about these employees, so
Yes.
you have to have at a team level intervention. Also, what are the things that are impacting them? What are the things that they are hearing? What are the things that is impacting their productivity or emotional psychological aspects of the individual? What is happening? So you have to be in cognizance. That's the first thing. Second is looking at, as we said, especially after restructuring, there is a lot of workload impact. People who are staying back, they have an increase from 1.3 to 1.5 increase of the workload, which I said. So you will have to have these conversations with these employees, asking them, what is it that you are doing which is unsustainable? Is there something which you can defer, delegate, or can we eliminate in the process to ensure that your workload comes down over a period of time? Is there some specific support that you need to do to ensure that the things get smoothened faster or more effectively? Some priority resets, some unnecessary meeting avoidances. Fatigue levels have to be looked at, and these have to be connected back. And probably third one is also, which a lot of organizations miss, is it's not just about the bottom line employees, but it's also those key managers layer. Having the communication with these people, just like how I mentioned, even the managers have significantly coming down in engagement levels from 30 to 27, which is a good number. But if you see further down at the Gen Z and female manager level, it significantly is getting impacted. So how do I engage with these managers? How do I make them more connected with the organization and make them develop? By investing in them, by giving them training, giving them how do you lead during uncertainties? How do you address those questions and queries which you are finding it uncomfortable or difficult to answer? Coming out with those different aspects for training, coaching, mentoring these managers, because they are the key interaction points or interface between you and the rest larger organization.
Yeah,
right?
I think
So this is where these active engagements of the people is very, very important. And so in simple nutshell, talk weekly, clarify it relentlessly on the requirements and thought process, and protect their energy. So these are the three things, and if you see, they impact the trust, the performance, and the resilience of the people directly. So this is what I would suggest, like an organization should focus on.
I really like that, because I think these are not, these are simple, very practical, and something any leader can start implementing immediately. They do not have to, work or very hard for it. It's something any leader should be able to do. I totally agree with that. But thank you for those practical points which you made. And let's look at, this is a very important question. I've been holding it to for the last one. In a multinational environment like UAE today, where teams are diverse, transient, does this people crisis, they also show up the same way, or is it something different about this place?
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. Definitely, a multinational, multicultural environment in a country like UAE has a significant difference in the way it reacts compared to many other regions. So, for example, if you see UAE, as a labor market, majority, more than 85 to 90% of them people are expats.
That's right.
And and from at least from 50 major countries they belong to. I mean, the majority of the population can be probably cut down to 5 to 10 countries probably, but in general or regional regions. But they're so diverse, different languages and all. But what do they bring and how do they impact the organization is significantly different. So first of all, if you see, most of these employees therefore are visa linked. So for them, existential vulnerability is always there. Will my visa get renewed? Will the organization terminate me in between? These are questions and challenges which these employees are going through constant day in and day out as an employee. Second, the psychological safety is harder to build here because how each nationality reacts to a particular context is different. To a particular stress is different. Some cultures openly talk about their distress and some do not.
Yes.
Either way, there is many of these people, a significant percentage of the employees do not have their families with them.
Yes.
So they do not have their close friends here. So most often they're interacting with colleagues. Now you cannot share everything openly with your colleagues. So where is the scope for you to exit your emotions, exit your tensions, because you don't want your family back home to get worried. So that impacts their psychology significantly. Then these if you look at the tenure of the employees in the organization in UAE is different compared to those countries, because people are all talking about 2-year contracts. Right, 1 or 2 terms is what a visa extension. So you're talking about most often the employees get exited after or change the organization after the first by the end of the visa renewal, or maximum 1 more. Whereas in other countries it is 3 to 5 is the minimum assured.
Yes.
And then there are people who are longer. In the Western it is much longer.
Yeah.
Western countries. So these impacts the way the dynamics work. So which comes to the fourth one, like if you see, the team is most often, half the employees are about 12 months old and below.
Yes.
So that means that any dependencies, any team bonding, everything is very fickle. So any crisis or situation, they are not able to depend on trust on each other, or because they have not yet understood each other enough to see where they can fall back upon each other for. So that is another thing. And finally, the Emiratization, for example, in UAE is significantly changing the workforce dynamics, because who is so as the government is enforcing higher and higher percentage requirement of Emiratis in each organization, there is always that context of who gets weeded out. Who is this Emirati, for example, is replacing. That is one challenge. Second, as a leader, when this Emiratization is happening, if you are doing it for the sake of avoiding a fine, for the sake of statutory compliance, then you are not talking about performance equality.
Yes.
So while the headcount is there, there is no outcome or output expected from the employee, which means the existing employees have to take up a higher load.
Yes.
Which creates a work cultural disturbance, emotional dissatisfaction, disengagement. So employees go through these, but they cannot raise anything because it's a statutory level company also cannot do anything about it. But actually organizations can do by actively engaging even these nationals to contribute more effectively to the organization, find roles where they can get connected, provide them those career progressions, all that stuff. So the way you handle would significantly reduce this particular aspect. I'm not saying you can eliminate it, but yeah, it can be reduced. So in a nutshell, yes, UAE, like a nation, has this additional burden and challenge compared to other nations like So you will face here a lot of silent resistance and rather than a very open
Yes,
resistance to any of these issues or challenges. And that's something which as a leader you have to be very careful about, and be also open to handle different nationalities differently or different cultures differently, because one size does not fit all. So you
exactly.
will have to be open ended and open minded that way to accommodate all these
Mm.
people. So it's more
Very, very,
challenging.
very important distinction, especially in
Yeah.
such a fast and diverse workforce in this part of the world. Okay, so before I close, there's another question. Um, if your people are disengaged right now, is it really people's problem, or is it leadership reality that organizations are not ready to face? What do you think?
Okay. Now, I would very clearly put it: employee has their own share,
Uh-huh.
but the majority of the responsibility lies with the leader. It is the leader's responsibility to understand what is happening and providing, and that's where that position has been created. It's not an ornamental position as a leader
Yes.
or manager that you have.
Yes.
You are supposed to understand these dynamics, understand what is this happening, and it is given from a human psychology that not everybody takes up ownership by themselves. They do not take initiative by themselves, which is the vast majority of the people. So you as a leader are therefore tasked to facilitate this process and make sure that it is effective, and that's why it is about leadership pillar more.
Mm.
But again, I'm not taking away anything from the employee and their responsibility, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a strong way to end, because I think it brings accountability back to the leadership, right? That's what
Sure.
we are trying to bring in. So that's what it is from us. If for for our audience, if there is one takeaway from today's conversation, it is people resilience is no longer a soft topic. It is a business critical capability. Because at the end of the day, a plan does not execute itself, people do. And this conversation that doesn't stop here, if this resonates with you, whether you are a leader or part of a team, do share your thoughts or questions in the comments, and we will take them forward in our upcoming conversation. That would be the next episode. And for now, thank you for joining us on Insights with Farzana Uncut. And thank you once again, Sarmaji. It was
Thank you.
again a very insightful conversation we had today. And for the rest of the people, until next time.